Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Again I brought a new video. This video is about lifeboat equipment and lifeboat launching procedures. Actually, lifeboat design and lifeboat launching procedures may vary according to the ship types. Over here we are sailing in a container ship, so this is the container ship's lifeboat launching procedure and the lifeboat equipment. Our third officer Sai will explain us lifeboat equipment and lifeboat launching procedure. I think this video will provide some useful information about lifeboat. One more thing, do not skip the video, watch it until the end to get all the information correctly. Okay.
Let's go. Okay, welcome once again. Currently we are at the port side lifeboat. So today's video is more about lifeboats. So on your port side, as you can see here, this is our lifeboat. So this is a fully enclosed lifeboat, okay, which is able to carry around 45 persons. So as you can see there, that's the 45 person, and this also happens to be the rescue boat. So we have a total of 2 lifeboats in this vessel, which is one here on the port side and the other one on the starboard side. So here, as you can see, this is actually the master station, okay, where we do our drills, and also abandoned ship. This is the master station, the port side lifeboat. Okay, as you can see, there's markings on the floor. These are all the seat numbers where the crew will come and gather when there's drills. They will, each of them have a specific seat number they have to follow, and the specific duties they have to follow. So when they come for drills, they'll have to bring their immersion suits, their life jackets, and whatever duties they have, they'll have to say it out so that, you know, to make sure that they know what their actual duties are in terms of abandoned ship. Okay, so just the outside, a bit of the outside of this lifeboat. As you can see here, this is the cradle hook. Okay, cradle hook.
Called cradle hook.
Yes, cradle hook, 2 of it. Okay, and then these are sheaves which turn when we lower the lifeboat, and this is the arm. When we drop, when the lifeboat is launched, we usually will launch the boat every 3 months once at least. Okay, we'll lower it, go into water level, and then we'll maneuver a bit. So as per requirement, it has to be done that. And then every week you move from slow position just a bit to check it's all resting, it's all working. And here at the back you can see the rudder and the propeller of the lifeboat we have here. Okay, so it's a very small rudder and propeller. And here you see this is the new net zero system ball. Okay, this is our hook release. Okay, as you can see, different ships have different types of
Arrangement.
Yes, release mechanisms. So here we have the Nadiro system. So Nadiro system is consists of a ball. Okay, as you can see this ball here, and it's housed in this housing. Okay, so when we press inside, later I'll show you how to launch, and it will release. Okay, with pressure. So here, as you can see, this line coming from the side and going down, that's called the gripes. Okay, we have 2 gripes, one in the forward, one in the aft. So in case of an emergency, we don't really have time to remove the gripes, but when you release the lifeboat, the gripe will automatically come out.
Okay.
So the gripe is holding up here. So when the arm drops, the gripe also goes off. So in case of emergency, you don't have to worry about this, because in abandoned ship, we don't have time for it. So here you see, here this one here going up all the way okay, to the top and then to the lifeboat. This is called a remote control wire. So a remote control wire's purpose basically is to, when you pull it, is basically to launch the lifeboat from inside. Okay, so by pulling the wire, you are able to lower the lifeboat from inside. However, before you do that, you need to release some stuff. Okay, release some hooks and safety pins in order to pull it, and then you should go while you are seated inside. However, it's not advised to lower the lifeboat with everyone inside because it's heavy also, and in case of emergency, if you have time, you better rig the embarkation ladder, and then you lower it by one person or lower by deck. I mean when you're on deck, and then you enter by means of the embarkation ladder into the lifeboat. Okay, so this here is the battery plug. Okay, which one person has the duty of opening this battery plug before entering, and then forward
To unplug it.
So another cradle hook or cradle stopper we have here. Okay, this is the safety pin which you have to release. Okay, you release this and then you pull this back. So it basically remove the locking system here. Okay, so remove this. Same thing, sheaths, and then again the nitro system at the back. As you can see, yeah, the ball is in the housing, and also the aft painter. Sorry, the forward painter which is always attached here. So in case of emergency, from inside you can release the painter. Okay, basically the painter is to make sure that the lifeboat stays alongside the vessel and does not go away. So when one is time to release, you can release it from inside. There's a ledge for it. Later we'll see inside. So let's get inside the lifeboat and check it out. What's inside? Okay, so here we have the safety chains, in case make sure that it's always there. Cut this part out.
Okay.
Okay. So usually before you enter, the safety officer usually like a bit ventilates the lifeboat just in case there's any fumes hot when it's hot. Inside have any fumes or lack of oxygen. So better we just ventilate open for a while. But we are somewhat in a colder region right now, slightly colder, so it's not that hot. So let's enter. Whenever you enter the lifeboat, make sure there's a big gap here, so make sure you enter it with caution and safety and not in panic mode, and then you guys have more injuries. Not to save your life. The lifeboat is there to save your life. Okay. So here you can see it's a fully enclosed lifeboat. Okay, we'll go through a few of the items here so that you guys have an idea what is inside the lifeboat. Okay. So starting off first here, straight directly down here, this is the painter of the aft part. So this is the aft painter and the forward painter is already attached. So this is the aft painter which we attach, and you can see these three immersion suits. So the special about this lifeboat, it's a rescue boat, right? So rescue boat and then the normal boat, the difference is that this rescue boat has few additional items just for rescue purposes. Okay. So the main difference between the two lifeboats is actually the winch at the bottom. Later on we will take a look. This winch is slightly bigger because it has a more higher capacity of hoisting. Okay, for the persons, this should be 6 person, and there is 2 when you're hoisting the speed because the winch is much bigger motor. Okay, so here additional things we have is 3 immersion suits. This is for rescue, in case we rescue someone and then we require it. We have immersion suits. So on top you can see these are oars, okay, which we use to paddle in case the engine does not work. so that we have a total of 4 oars, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and also we have like hooks here,
Like a boat hook.
like boat hooks in case we need to pull something in or pull someone in. This is we have 2 of this at the top. Okay, so here we have the searchlight. Okay, the searchlight in case you need to search for anyone near the lifeboat. Okay, and then here, let's go back here. Okay, so this is the seat for the person who's going to drive. Usually for this port side should be the bosun. So he's going to sit down here. There's a latch on top and there's a latch at the back. Okay, so there, when we were talking about the remote control wire, since it's under maintenance now, the remote control wire comes through this hole here, and usually we'll pull it inwards. Okay, so at the moment they're doing some maintenance, so that's why it's not inside. So it's supposed to be inside. We pull it with a steady force, and then the lifeboat should be able to lower itself through inside, from inside. Okay, so as you can see on top, there's a small magnetic compass. Maybe you wanna go back a bit. Yeah. Okay, so we have a small magnetic compass there to get our heading, because that's the only way of heading we can get. And few switches, light switches, where we have the navigational light, cabin searchlight, and so on. And also we have the switch on ignition key for the lifeboat here, and also the battery on top. Okay, so this lifeboat has a total of 2 batteries. So usually we will not run it at sea. We'll unplug it to save energy and basically save the battery. So usually we have to plug this in, okay, in order to get more power. Yeah, so maybe we shall do that for a while. You know, maybe we can reach. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we try one switch. See, so at the back you have the light. Now the battery is on and the light comes up. Also the outside light will be on also. So here we'll have there's another circuit switch here, so which you switch on, and then the ignition. So usually for cold climate we usually glow this glow part here. So glow basically is to heat up the engine a bit. So yeah, so we'll just glow up for a while. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll start. Gonna start. Okay. So since so that's the starting of the lifeboat engine. Okay. So here same thing, we'll switch it off. So before we switch it off, here is the Nadiro system. Nadiro system here. So there is a total of 3 lights which you'll have to see. So this is the hook release. In order to release the hook, which is the ball, yes. So now this means there is power. Once the lifeboat reaches the water level, once it touches, there's a sensor there. You shall see one indicator showing waterborne. And once the hook is released, once it's successfully released, you will light up the 3rd light, the green light. Okay. Okay, so stop for the engines now. And this is the steering wheel, which we use to align, steer the ship, of course. Okay, so let's get down and check it out on the other side. Okay, so down here, this is the mechanisms, release mechanism. So as you can see, there's a gauge here. This is the Nadiro hydraulic gauge. So it should be in the green zone in order to have a successful launch, enough pressure to launch the hooks. So if it's not in the green range, you'll have to pump it using this, okay, handle for the hydraulic pump, and then we insert it in
manually
and manually pump it. So just manually pump it and it should go up. Okay, so this is for pumping. So here it's like a backup system in case a mechanism doesn't work. So usually this is used for emergency release, or we call it on load release. Okay, on load release, that means that the lifeboat is off the water. It is on the hook and it's off the water, and it usually when we do on load release is when it's in an emergency case, or when it's too swelled, the weather is too bad, you cannot be waterborne. To release, you release using this. So you'll have to remove this safety pin, this safety cover here. Okay, and then there's a few safety pins here, and then you'll have to push the lever, okay, this way to away from you. So as thing, so you'll have to push it away, and it will release the balls also. Okay, so also make sure it's within the gauge. Okay. So here, that's the release mechanism. So the other release mechanism is of course on offload release. Yeah, so offload release is basically when the lifeboat is in the water and the weight is taken by the lifeboat's weight is taken by the water. So that's the normal release. Basically, is pressing the hook release. So at the back here we have stickers to show you the waterborne release and also on-load emergency release. Okay, so it's very important that all crew know how to release it themselves, because in case of emergency you might be the last one and you have to release it. So at the back here you have a few more things here. So first off, we have the bilge pump, okay, and then the battery box, and also the tiller. So this is the emergency tiller in case the steering wheel doesn't work. Okay, we use the tiller to control the steering. Okay, so we insert it in, the safety pin in, and then we can move. Okay, so in case the steering wheel doesn't work. Okay. Also, you have an X here, we call it hatch. Okay, in case you need to cut any lines or anything, or for fishing or whatever, in case of emergency you can use. Okay, right, and let's move forward here a bit. So this lifeboat has a total of 5 hatches. So this one is the one which you open, 2 forward and aft, there's 2 more, and then there's one on the top. So there's a total of 5 hatches. So you can see all these belts. This is for making sure that you are well fastened, especially when lowering. Okay, so you can take a look. This is the forward part of the lifeboat. Okay, the forward hatch is the forward hatch, and then forward we have another hatch. Another X, and then there's a fire extinguisher, a powder 2-liter small fire extinguisher which we have here. Okay, so you can see on the seats there's numbers. So these numbers is as per your master list. What is your duties and what's your seat number? You should know your seat number very well. So coming down here, now let's look into some of the items inside the lifeboat. So which we'll take a look now. Okay, so here we have fresh water. Okay, so fresh water is in terms of packs here. So there's a expiry for this fresh water, and also it comes in this 2 times 5 50 ml 500 ml drinking water. Okay, so here we have, and then this is the food ration. Also emergency food rations in case we abandon ship and we need to eat. We need to ration out this food. Basically, is to keep us full and also to help us, stay alive. So it also shows how much energy it's supposed to give. 16 pieces of chew it slowly when hungry. Okay, eat 1 piece each time, no more than 6 in 24 hours. Okay, so they have given all instruction. Also, never drink seawater. Okay, so it's a very good packing, and it's good packaging and instructions. So this is the food ration. So water, food ration. Okay, and here we have additional items. first one off is the radar reflector. So the radar reflector, there is a hole for it. We can put it outside. Basically, it helps to get radar signals to help ships detect the lifeboat in case we are abandoning ship. The lifeboat is small compared to the ship size, so it's very hard to get detected. Since its color is orange, it's a bit easier, but with this it helps get detected by the radars of other ships more easier. Okay, so that is that. And then we have a toolbox, okay, in case for the engineers who are going to be in the lifeboat, in case they need to do any maintenance on the engine, lifeboat engine, they can use the tools here. And then we have the solar first aid kit. Okay, in case we need any first aid kit, it all tells you what is included inside the first aid kit. Okay, so like paracetamol tablets, dressing medium, triangular bandage, and so on. Okay, so also this has an expiry, so it has to be changed once it's expired. And then we have a few other things such as pyrotechnics. So pyrotechnics, we have we call it 246. So what I mean by 246, that's the easy way to remember what's the pyrotechnics carried in the lifeboat. Okay, so here starting off with two smoke signals, followed by 4 rocket parachute, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 rocket parachute, and lastly ending off with 6 hand flares. So that's how you remember the pyrotechnics on board the lifeboat is 2 smoke, 4 rocket, and 6 hand flare. 2, 4, 6. Okay, so we keep it in a airtight compartment or packaging so that it does not damage or get wet. Okay, so this is actually a very good practice that they have this on board. Not all ships have it. Okay, and then we have a bucket,
some bags,
okay, so bucket,
some breads, and
we have a baler, so basically in case there's water in the lifeboat, we use this to scoop it up, or we can use for other purposes. And here we have the seasickness tablet. Okay, we usually take it before we enter or once you enter the lifeboat in case of emergency or abandoned ship. We take this for people who have seasickness, so it helps to calm them down. We also have a fishing tackle to catch fish, but the main purpose of the fishing tackle, of course, is to catch fish, but it's basically to have like a pastime. In case you're in the middle of the sea, you need something to do. Fishing tackle to fish, you're actually engaging the brain a bit in order to have like
release the
stress.
Yes.
And the worry of being rescued or not. So fishing is one way to release that. Okay, and also to catch fish, but it's important to take note that you cannot eat every type of fish you catch. So for that you have a survival manual which is given on board, this lifeboat. Okay, and also the boat's manual is given inside. This is the maintenance manual of the boat, and this is the survival manual. So the survival manual is quite important that you read. Okay, it tells you all sorts of things from first aid items, how to survive. It gives you the emergency medical treatment, bandaging, seasickness prevention, emergency provisions, how to use certain items, search and rescue, how to survive, and also it tells you what's the roles and responsibility of the different people on board. Okay, and then they talk about the type of fishes you can eat and the types of Morse code, signaling, and so on. So it's actually supposed to help you survive. So these are the types of fishes you can eat. They'll tell you what's poisonous fishes, what's harmful fishes, and so on, so that you know what is food and what is not food. Okay, it also tells you about some celestial navigation and so on. So this book is very important that people read it. Okay, so usually we have a soft copy in the computer. So further things here, we have another torch. This torch is a bit different. This is a Morse code torch. So SOS is 3 dots, 3 long, then 3 dots again. Okay, so that's for SOS. Okay. Oh, the battery is out. Okay, so the battery is outside. So normally we don't put the batteries in because you don't want to drain the battery. Okay, so that's this, and there's another small tail here. Okay, so here we have can openers. Okay, can openers in case the chief cook brings any tin cans, you can use this to open. And then we have a signaling mirror to signal someone using the sun. So you position the mirror in basically to get attention of other people or other boats or other ships and so on. Okay, so that's for that. And this is the battery I was talking about, and also there's an extra fuse. Okay, and also the Morse code symbols are provided here. So basically it's a full pack just to help you survive at sea. But most importantly, you need to have a strong willpower to survive. If not, it's very hard to survive. Okay, so here we have rescue koi. Okay, we call it rescue koi. Basically is to, you throw it and reel someone in. For example, we are abandoning ship and then there's a guy who's a bit too far. We throw the rescue koi, he puts his hand through it and then you pull him in. Or if there's someone unconscious, you swim towards him, you put this around his arm and then you pull him in or reel him in. So this is the rescue koi for rescue purposes. Or even when you're doing rescue thing. Okay, so we have a total of 2 rescue kois. Here we have some FPD hooks or FPD lashings. Okay, so fall prevention device. FPD basically during maintenance or lifeboat lowering we use this just in case the hooks somewhat does not work. We use this, will help hold the weight of the lifeboat. Okay, then here we have TPA. Okay, TPA stands for thermal protective net. So basically it's to help you, recover if in case you are in the water for too long, you have hypothermia. The TPA helps you to reduce your, reduce the how fast you lose your body heat. So it's supposed to keep your body heat
warmer.
Yeah, keep you warm in a way. So we have the requirement is to have at least 10% of the total capacity of the lifeboat. So this capacity is 45, so we're supposed to have at least 5 because we can't have 4.5, so we'll have 5. So this lifeboat has 5. Okay, so that is for TPA. And here a few things. Okay, so here you see this is the sea anchor. Okay, not really for much anchoring purposes. Maybe you could use it, but it's more of keeping the lifeboat steady while you. So basically, we'll attach it to the end of the lifeboat, and then with the wind, it will help steady the lifeboat in case the lifeboat is swaying too much or whatsoever. So this helps. So it's very long. Okay, and then also we have the recovery strobe light for recovery. It's a bit heavy, but also this like the Nadiro balls, exactly same. Okay, as you can see,
We can attach it to the forward and aft.
yeah, for
And
recovery
then can
purposes.
recover, yes.
Okay, so it's called a recovery strobe light. Okay, and then we also have embarkation ladder in the bottom there. You can see this the embarkation ladder. So basically, you put it on the side of this lifeboat. Okay, and then easier for people to climb on. Right, so that's so much for the equipment. Okay, so this is maintained by the third officer safety on this ship. He takes care of the items. He does a monthly monthly inventory check of the items here. Yeah, it's important to make sure that it's well maintained, so that in case of an emergency, all this equipment is there to help you to survive. Okay, so the inventory list, you can find it here at the bottom. So all this is the items on board the Lifeboat. Okay, so moving on, a few more things before we end this video. Here we have the drain plug. So as you can see down there, that's the drain plug, and this is the drain. So basically, when we are abandoning ship, it's important that you plug this drain valve. Why? Because if not, water will start coming in.
And
but
the ball also.
this ball is supposed to be like a one-way valve. In case water comes from outside, it's supposed to block it in. However, there's a limit to how long it can last. So we usually plug it in, okay, to make sure that water does not come in. So for now, they have do it. So basically, to plug it in, and here we have the
Fuel tank.
fuel tank. Okay, this is the fuel tank leading up to the engine at the back. Just gonna remove this. So the engineers do maintenance for the engine and the tank and everything for the fuel. Here you have the engine and a few sensors at the bottom for like waterborne sensors and so on. So this is the engine. Maybe the engineers can tell you more about this engine, but it's usually maintained by the engineers on board our ships. So important to make sure that it's dry usually, and especially the bottom part, so that all the equipment on board are well maintained. Alright, so we'll have the launching procedure. Okay, so we'll look into how to launch the Lifeboat. Okay, so there's a few steps you need to do before you can launch. So first timers better read this properly, know the steps by heart. You know, make sure that you are well versed with all this. So it's all written down. So make sure that forward painter is made fast on deck. Okay, the forward painter is what we saw just now. Okay. Ensure the end of the embarkation ladders are secured to the pad eye. Okay, we'll go down and take a look with that. Then method 2 is lower the lifeboat by means of remote control lever. Okay, so this lever is at the bottom also. We'll take a look at the bottom later on. Okay, and then lower the lifeboat by means of gravity. Okay, so there's two methods for lowering here. So later we'll go down and take a look. Okay, so for the steps to release, first you need to remove the toggle pin at the brake lever at the bottom, and then you have to remove the toggle pins at the forward and aft cradle stopper, which is here. Okay, remove this and remove the one at the aft, and then release this. Okay, it should come out. Okay, remove this hook onto the red lever. Okay, pulling back the red lever. Okay, remove the battery charging cable. Then unlock and open the hatch to board. Make sure the bottom plug, just now we mentioned our bottom plug, make sure the bottom plug is plugged, and then seat, the crew seat as per their seat numbers. Turn on the battery switch which we did just now, number 1 and number 2. Glow for a while, power up the engines, check the lights, start the engine. Okay, and then this is the remote control wire which I mentioned just now. So this is the method 1, which is pulling, and then the lifeboat will launch. Okay. Right. So let's head down and take a look on the other methods at the bottom. So here is the bottom of the lifeboat deck. So here you see on top is the lifeboat. Okay, so this is the arms and then the entire lifeboat. Okay, so here you can see these are skates. Basically, it's supposed to help when lowering the lifeboat not to damage the ship side, also not damage the lifeboat itself. Okay, that's the skates. And then here is the bottom plug. You can see the ball, which is somewhat supposed to act like the one-way valve. Okay, and a few sensors, waterborne sensors. Okay, and then the rudder and propeller at the back. This is the rudder and propeller at the back. Okay, pretty small compared to the ship size, but yes, it helps you survive. Okay, again, launching procedures provided. Make sure you know how to launch the lifeboat by yourself. So coming on here is the motor. Okay, and comparing the size with the starboard one, this is much bigger. Okay, so this is the brake lever which we were talking about the toggle pin which you have to remove. Is this pin here. Okay, you remove this pin and then you lift up this. This is method 2. So the method 1 is using remote control wire, which is on top. Second method is using this. So you remove the pin and then you lift up, and then the lifeboat should be lowered. Okay, so this is the same as the remote control wire. This is the remote control wire coming. Okay, coming, and then it lifts up this thing here. So this one has to go. So to better understand this, in all cases this pin should be out, so that the remote control wire, you pull it, this will be pulled. Same thing, this lever will be lifted up. Okay, this brake. Okay, in case you don't use the remote control wire, you have time to abandon ship, you let go. This is the embarkation ladder here. So make sure the embarkation the shackles are made fast. Okay, usually it's already made fast. Okay, so the embarkation ladder, remove the cover and then you let go the embarkation ladder. So remove all the chains, safety chains and whatsoever, and then you can go down using embarkation ladder, not using the lifeboat. Okay. So this is the second method where you lift up from here. That means you're still on board and you lower the lifeboat while you're on board. And then lastly, this one here. The method 3, where you release the safety pin and then you pull in order to let go to lower the lifeboat. Okay, so this here you see limit switches. Okay, various limit switches. Usually we will test it. Okay, making sure it's working. Here we have the crank to adjust the motor itself manually in case we need it. Okay, so we put it through and then we crank it up. So here the gripes I was talking about is attached to a turnbuckle here. If you got time, you remove manually. If not, you will go by itself. Okay. Yeah. So make sure that before you launch the lifeboat, make sure there's no one below, so that you can, not go over any obstructions or whatever. Okay. So that's about for the bottom part. All right. So that is somewhat the end of the video regarding the lifeboat equipment. But before we end the video off, maybe some piece of advice for newcomers, new joiners, cadets, oilers, deck ratings, engine ratings and so on. Whoever is joining the ship for the first time, it's very important that you know your duties in case of abandoned ship. Okay, so this is a master list here. So all your duties as per your rank is given down here. You're supposed to know by heart what is your duty and also your seat number. Other thing is you have to know the launching procedures for the lifeboat. Why? Because in case of an emergency, you might be the only one there, and to survive, you need to launch the lifeboat by yourself. Okay, and it's possible that you are able to launch the lifeboat by yourself. So it's important that those who are guiding you, you ask them questions: how to launch the lifeboat, what's the mechanisms, what's the different types of releases, what to look out for in when releasing, and so on. And also important to know how to use all the equipments you have to survive. Okay, you cannot be not knowing how to use a certain type of equipment which is provided on the lifeboat. Okay, like oars or hooks or whatever. So it's important. Know your duty. Know your seat numbers. Know how to launch the lifeboat. Know the capacity of lifeboat. Also the location. Yes, very important. I didn't emphasize how to get to the master station. Most people on their first few days, they don't know how to go to the master station. You need to get it in the head how to go, because in case of an emergency, you just join the ship, you don't know where to go, and maybe they will leave without you. That's a very high possibility that in case of in panic mode, people will just do whatever they want to do, and then you will be left out. So you need to know how to go to the master stations. Okay, so that's the only few things I want to tell regarding this lifeboat.
One more thing, where we can find out these details in the books,
Okay.
the manuals.
So you can't be going to the lifeboat every time. So the information about the lifeboat launching procedures can be found in your own IMS system on board your ship, and also it can be found in the SOLAS training manuals, which is found in your mess rooms, your recreational rooms. So take your time when you're starting, first few weeks. Read up these manuals, because it's going to help you. Because anyone's going to ask you a question that how to launch the lifeboat, how to launch the life raft, what is the different life-saving, firefighting appliances you have on board. So SOLAS training manual is there for you to learn. Most people, normally they will just neglect. So it's important, take the initiative to learn the manuals, so that you have a better understanding of how things works on board. So with that, thank you very much for watching this video, and maybe see you next time. Thank you.